What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. Today, we're going to be discussing the Dallas Cowboys possibly moving up in the NFL draft to select a tight end. We're going to go over what the Dallas Cowboys should do and how this could impact how they draft. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick. Well, reports surfaced today that Jerry Jones seems to be infatuated with a player in the NFL draft this year, and it's not somebody that we really thought it would be for the Dallas Cowboys necessarily, but it seems like Jerry Jones really likes tight end Kyle Pitts. And now it's interesting because people are throwing theories up there that, hey, the Dallas Cowboys might be in a position where if Jerry Jones likes this guy so much, maybe he makes a move to go up and actually get him and add him to the offense. So I beg you the question. Should the Cowboys move up and grab Kyle Pitts?
I mean, first off, this is definitely a move I would see Jerry Jones making. This is the ideal situation for Jerry where he could sit at 10 and draft a defensive back just like everybody projects them to fix the secondary that needs a ton of help. Or he could do what he wants to do, take his fake confidence, say, we need to fix up this offense even more. It's not as high powered as I want it to be. 3 receivers, not good enough. I need more. Kyle Pitts is my guy. That is exactly what I see Jerry Jones doing. That's the type of move that Jerry Jones would make. But it's not what he should do. He needs to do what everybody else is saying to do. Stay at 10, draft Patrick Surtain II, and be happy with it because he's going to make a huge difference for your team. Trayvon Diggs, it was a baller. He was a great guy to get last season. And now you get his running mate from Alabama in Patrick Surtain. Put them back together with DeMonte Kazee and Keanu Neal, and boom, your secondary has been overhauled for the most part. You can run with those guys for the time being, and your secondary won't be getting crapped on every single play of every game. You won't be giving up 50 points a game. Dak Prescott won't have to put up 50 points a game. Zeke is not going to have to rush for 200 yards, and you're still going to lose. You're now going to fix the biggest problem. If you don't give up points, you don't have to get extra unnecessary weapons on offense to help you score points.
It's funny because I feel like I should be with you here. I'm just not, and it's just because I I take a look at what this roster would look like if Kyle Pitts was added onto it. I mean, you have arguably a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. You have your all-pro quarterback, Dak Prescott, who showed you that he can throw for 500 yards a game if he had to. Ezekiel Elliott, who is an all-pro running back, who can rush and catch out of the backfield and do everything you ask of him. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, that 3-headed monster at wide receiver. If you added Kyle Pitts, who ran a 4.440, when you add this guy to that offense, man, I don't know about a single defense in the NFL that's going to be able to stop these guys. Who are you covering? Who are you double covering? Because you can't double cover Kyle Pitts. You got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup you got to worry about. Ezekiel Elliott can run the ball down your throat even in pass-heavy formations. There's not a whole hell of a lot that you can do if Kyle Pitts is on this roster. I think it would be an embarrassment of riches for the Dallas Cowboys, and then they would run out of excuses offensively if they can't perform. But I gotta say, I kind of like the move if they can pull it off by trading up and getting Kyle Pitts on this roster. I really do. And you talk about the defensive backfield. Well, don't forget, there's Richard Sherman sitting in the wings, and just like Jerry Jones, get Richard Sherman until you can get somebody else that's a top tier draft pick, whether next year or somebody you find later in on Friday or Saturday in this year's draft. Then you take a look at who's available there. But at this point, I'm saying, listen, I'll get Richard Sherman for a year or two. Lock up the side out opposite of Trayvon Diggs. You've pretty much solved that position. Now you get Kyle Pitts. No, it doesn't matter. Your defense has to basically make one stop, and you're gonna win that game. That's pretty much it. And I think that would be the position that the Cowboys could be in.
I mean, you're essentially saying put them back in the same situation they were in 2020, where Dak Prescott's doing everything he possibly can to put up points and eventually gets hurt to the point where the bone is piercing his skin and he's out for the remainder of the season, potentially missing the start of the next season. Well, Dak Prescott, if he suffers one more of those catastrophic injuries, his career could possibly be over. Jerry Jones needs to think of the smart way of approaching this. He needs to think that in order to keep Dak healthy, he needs to be on the field less. How do you do that? You create a defense that will stop the opposing offense from putting up points. Dak Prescott can then just hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, let them run loose. I'm not going to have to put out my quarterback in a dangerous position to make a big play where he might get injured.
I mean, to be fair, if the defense is stopping plays, stopping offenses and making plays, isn't Dak Prescott going to be on the field more? So essentially, what you're doing is putting the defense out on the field more. If you get Kyle
No, but
Pitts.
no, he's on the field handing the ball off. What does everybody do when they have a big
He
lead?
can do that.
You
He
hand
could
the
do that
ball
with
off.
Kyle Pitts on the roster too. He could do that same thing, and Kyle Pitts
Not
is a
necessarily.
proven
No.
inline blocker.
Not if the score is 60 to 50 every single week. That means Dak Prescott is throwing for 500 yards, has to constantly put up points on every single drive to keep up with the opposing offense. That's not how you play the game of football. There are 3 phases to football. Jerry Jones only sees one.
Well, it seems to me like the Dallas Cowboys would be unstoppable on offense if they got Kyle Pitts. And, you talked about another possible catastrophic injury to Dak Prescott. I'll even say that could happen on any play, whether they draft Patrick Surtain or whoever the hell. I mean, really, this is a game of football. And if he drafted Kyle Pitts, it would actually be an insurance policy to say, listen, he doesn't have to run and get more yards every single play because he has so many weapons that he's going to be able to utilize. Don't forget that all happened when his offensive line had suffered major losses already. So, we're talking about different things here. I'm saying we're looking at the Cowboys roster holistically, what they provide on the football field, a top 3 offensive line, top 3 wide receiving core, a top 10 quarterback, and a top 10 running back. You can't tell me that adding Kyle Pitts to that isn't going to make them a top 5, possibly top 3 offense in the NFL, and possibly one of the best in NFL history.
It for sure would put them up there in that conversation, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it matters if you win or you lose, and there's no way the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a winning record at the end of the season by adding Kyle Pitts in the draft. That's not what they need to do. They have much bigger holes all on the defense. You got to fill at least one of them if you want a chance at having a winning record.
I just disagree. I think that, at a certain point, you can control clock after scoring so many points. And you know what? Their defense wasn't absolutely horrid last year, and they did get better. They made some additions where they had to. And, the only thing I'll say is Keanu Neal was brought in, but he was not brought in as a safety. Instead, he was brought in as a weak side linebacker. So they still have to draft a safety, but they have plenty of draft picks. They're not lacking draft picks. They still have cap space. They can still make a run at some of these second, third wave free agents that are going to be available. Take a flyer on one of them. There's so many different avenues that they can explore that you may not want to pass up on a generational talent in Kyle Pitts. And I think a lot of this argument tends to come from the fact that you just don't believe in Kyle Pitts. And listen, I haven't said it yet, but I think I'm going to now. You hate Kyle Pitts, and that's okay. You hate Kyler Murray. You hate Nick Bosa. Continue to hate on all these players because I'm building a fantastic roster of players that I'm going to be able to throw at you any day of the week.
You know what? I hope the Dallas Cowboys draft Kyle Pitts because I know that the Giants are going to destroy them twice a year. The Washington football team is going to destroy him twice a year. And that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to toy with Dak Prescott, Kyle Pitts, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke Elliott. I don't care. They're going to lose. Guaranteed. Okay. If you draft Kyle Pitts, if the Dallas Cowboys draft Kyle Pitts, they're going to have a top 5 pick next year. Guaranteed.
First of all, we all know Philadelphia's winning like maybe one game next year. Like, let's be honest.
And it'll be against the Dallas Cowboys.
That won't happen. Second of all, Washington doesn't even have a quarterback set right now, so they're not winning jack all. And the New York Giants, yeah, good luck. Daniel Jones is throwing the football. That defense still has some holes on it. You're talking about a team that's not, they might be the only offense that might be able to put up points with them, and I still favor the Cowboys in that scenario.
There's absolutely no way you could ever convince me that Kyle Pitts, moving up to get Kyle Pitts, is the right move. That is the complete wrong move. That's in the wrong direction altogether. Turn yourself around, Jerry Jones, and see exactly what you need to do. Draft Patrick Surtain. Draft somebody on the defensive side of the ball. Somebody that's going to have a big impact. Kyle Pitts will not.
You know what, Jerry? If you're listening to this, first of all, subscribe to the channel. Truly appreciate you. Second of all, do what you do best, because you know what? When you took over this team and you did things your way, you won Super Bowls. Let's get back to doing that. Let's get Kyle Pitts on this roster, and let's get things popping. This offense would be absolutely explosive, and there's not a single defense in NFL history that would be able to stop what you guys would be putting on the field. I put my money on it.
I'll bet against you every time, so...
That's okay. I'll take your money. All right. Well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.